Hi, I'm Nadine Nelson. I am the chef, owner, and educator of Global Local Gourmet. I'm also this year the creative in residence at the New Haven Public Library. I'm happy to be here. Um, I am a creative artist, chef. Um, I specialize in interactive cuisine, so I'm really happy to be here and doing something very practical today. Because I do a lot of food interventions and social sculptures, and we can talk about that while food is cooking. So you're here at Cost Saving. Um, I don't know what the title is, but
Cost
Cost
saving
Saving.
holiday cooking and entertaining from the pantry.
Yes, pantry. I love the pantry because, especially during, COVID, the pantry has been raised to a different standard than it has been before, probably for a lot of people. Understanding that if you have a lot of great things in your pantry, you can make great dishes all the time. And so I'm going to make a mixture of dishes where I created a booklet for you, which has a bunch of different things, tips, but then also I rated the only place I had a chance to be able to go to. So some of the things I'm going to be making are not in that booklet, but what I love to teach people how to do is be able to freestyle and cook without recipes because our grandmothers are, people that we hold in high esteem that cook well in the kitchen, they don't really cook with recipes. And so I do have some recipes for you. You can always contact me if there's something that you need information about or ingredients that I didn't put in the recipe that I put here because I am naturally a freestyle. So I'm going to put in, we'll talk about what to have in your holiday pantry in a second. When I have time to be able to, for some of the salads and stuff like that, I'll be able to discuss those type of things. But I want to get some things that are going to take a little longer inside the oven. And so we're making a whole roasted cauliflower. I love to do it. It's going to be vegan. Um, I love to make a whole roasted cauliflower every holiday because you always have people who are vegan or vegetarian, and it's a really nice way to have something that's impressive that you're able to put on the table. They can eat it, and then everyone else loves it too. Uh, a recipe that I make all the time that is vegetarian is tandoori. So you can use tandoori spices, and we're in New Haven. I'm broadcasting everywhere, but in New Haven, if you go to Orange or Milford, where we are, my tiny forest kitchen in Milford, and I'll talk a little bit about that um, a little bit later. But in Orange and Milford, there's really wonderful Southeast Asian markets where you can get tandooris, curries, lots of different condiments that you can have in your pantry that can enliven your dishes. Today, I'm going to be making whole roasted za'atar cauliflower. So za'atar, you can have green or you can have red. And there are also Middle Eastern markets here in West Haven that they have huge packets of the tar for $3.99. That will last you forever. You can share with other people. And so the recipe is really simple. All we're going to do is the roasted cauliflower, which I have trimmed down already. And we're going to put olive oil on there. And then we're going to put the tar. If you like green, you can use that. If you like the red, you can use that. I had the red, so that's what I'm using right here. I'm gonna leave some for a little bit later. And then I'm just gonna rub it and show it some love. You're gonna put a little bit of water on the bottom, then you're gonna cover it with tinfoil, and then you're just gonna bake it in the oven. I have it at 450, and I think the recipe I have it for 425, but roasting, it depends on your oven, how you wanna do it. So you roast it for half an hour with a little bit of water and the tinfoil, then take the tinfoil off, and then you roast it for another half an hour until it gets nice and brown. And when you bring it to the table, it's like your vegetarian roast. Right, I'm gonna go wash my hands. All right. So I am making now, I call them party potatoes. In different parts of America, they call them funeral potatoes. It's a vegetarian dish. And I call them party potatoes because we always have them on special occasions. I'm Jamaican, and growing up, I ate very traditionally. And so that is like rice and peas and curry chicken and, lots of soups and, what I thought was kind of boring because, when you grow up on that stuff in America, you have hamburgers and potatoes and stuff like that. Those are, I wanted macaroni and cheese and apple pie. So this is my version. It's like, it's very gluttonous. It's very fattening. It's very easy. And so we usually use country style potatoes, which you can find in your frozen food aisle. They didn't have that where I was shopping. So I used tater tots and then defrosted them in the microwave. And then they were um, assembled. So you have nice crumbles. If you use the country potatoes, all you have to do is defrost them. You can also use shredded hash browns. It's really up to you. That's what I'm just trying to show you how you can use, you don't have to have exactly what a recipe says. I am going to cut an onion. Can you see, Rose? Can you guys see me cutting the onion or no?
Kind of. It's kind of
Okay.
at the very bottom of the screen, but we can see it.
Okay. All right, so I'll just explain what I'm doing. So to cut an onion, you cut it in half, and you need the stem intact because the stem will help you. And then you go down vertically, and however
That's it. Thank you.
All right, however big you want your onion slices is however big you cut vertically and horizontally. So I kind of want these kind of small, so I'm making my cuts small. And I'm going to saute the onion before I put it in my casserole. And so this casserole has potatoes that are defrosted. It has onion that's sauteed. I also put some scallion in there. I like alliums. If there was chives, I might put those in there too. You can put leeks. It really is whatever you have. Allium is like things that are in the onion family, right? So I'm going to turn on the stove and then just saute the onions in half butter. I just put a little bit of oil in there because butter burns. And then I'll put the other half of the butter in there at the end and mix it in with the casserole. So we have sour cream. We have a can of cream of mushroom soup. You can use whatever cream soup that you want. And then we have shredded cheese. And so you can use cheddar, you can use Colby, you can use Monterey Jack, use like a nice sharp cheese. If you want to up level it, you can use goat cheese, whatever you have, Swiss cheese. It really is up to you. It's one of those recipes that you can, except for adding too much salt because you don't really need to add salt because you're using these packaged things. I'm putting garlic powder on here. You don't need to add any extra salt. So I am going to open it up because I want this to be kind of interactive. What are people's favorite pantry item to be able to make a dish for the holidays?
And people are welcome to speak up in audio or type it in the chat, and I can read it out. Speaking of which, I don't think I introduced myself. Hello, my name is Rose Simpson. I'm a librarian at the New Haven Free Public Library.
All right, so I'm going to hope that people talk.
So Lisette says, pantry item staple, pasta or rice.
Okay, and what do you make with those things? Like, what is your favorite, like, pasta dish? What's your favorite rice dish? Like, I love to have a barrio rice or quinoa or farro. to be able to make risotto. Oftentimes when I think I have a barley, when I think I'm like, oh my God, I have nothing to eat, I'll make a nice risotto because I'll have Parmesan cheese, I'll have butter, I'll have olive oil, I might have some dried mushrooms, I'll have the grain, and you don't have to use just a barley rice. You can use like the other things I'm talking about, like barley is really cheap. And I might have some frozen shrimp. So those are some of my favorite ingredients to make something like really decadent with things that you have on hand. So Lizette, what are some of the things that you make with your rice or your pasta?
She said black beans and rice or tuna noodles with peas for budget meal. And Cynthia says, I seem to reach for chickpeas often just to add protein to everything.
I love chickpeas too, and I love butter beans. I love chickpeas like in a kale, tomato stew. I like chickpeas like to make a tagine, like with vegetables and then with couscous. I also like chickpeas, like you make them into brownies. You can put them in smoothies that a lot of people don't realize that you can put like black beans or white beans or chickpeas in smoothies to add fiber. So I'm just sauteing the onions right now. I'm gonna cut up some scallions. For this and some other things that I'm gonna make right after. So what are some people's other favorite pantry items?
Cynthia says, in smoothies, I will do that. So,
Yeah, people
new use for
want,
chickpeas.
yeah, you can always look online if you want some recipes, you can email me. My email is just nadine.nelson@gmail. Um, and smoothies, you can also, like we're talking about pantry items. So, a lot of people use the frozen um, cauliflower rice. You can put that. You can use frozen or canned pumpkin or um, sweet potato. So all of those things add fiber. When you're using black beans, for instance, the way that you make it not taste like black beans is using cocoa. So, cocoa is also in your pantry. Having unsweetened cocoa, you can make homemade brownies really easily. My grandma makes homemade brownies. And for the price of a box of really nice brownies, you can get cocoa, flour, sugar, all these so many brownies over and over again. So I'm gonna put the scallion inside my casserole. And I'm just gonna be mixing my casserole right now. And the last thing I'm gonna put in there is the sauteed. So my family, it doesn't matter like how much of this you make, it usually is all gone because we love it. They say it's very decadent, something that only have like maybe 4 times a year. So some of the things like in your pantry, like with beans, I'm gonna make in a second a black bean. But if you have your beans, like if you have beans on there, tomato sauce.
Nadine, it's kind of hard to hear you. The camera might be like angled poorly to
All
catch
right.
your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
But I'm a little cut off, right?
Uh, just the very top of your head.
All right. So, but I was saying about beans, you can make salsa, you can make dip. Um, so now we're going, who knows, we're going to be in hibernation. And I tell people it's a really good time to just go out and buy things little by little to have in your pantry, so you just feel comfortable, just in case you don't know what's going to happen in our future, as 2020 has shown. It doesn't mean that you can't eat like a rock star at home. What are some of the dishes that people make for the holidays? Especially if you're not, if you're, like I'm Jamaican, so for Thanksgiving, I just started making a jerk turkey a couple of years ago because my family's like, we don't like turkey, but I always felt that we're in America, we should have turkey. And so I make a jerk turkey because jerk seasoning is Jamaican. And I stuff it with cornbread stuffing, and it's really delicious. And then some of these side dishes that I'm going to show you are dishes that I have like every Thanksgiving, because I like to have a lot of different sides. It's not really about the turkey. And in Jamaican household, we have a lot of protein dishes. So I like to have all different sides to be able to complement the meat dishes.
Lori Martin says chicken marbella.
Oh, nice. Hi, Lori. Thanks for coming. Lori is the executive director of Haven's Harvest, and they deal with food waste in New Haven. And I love working with them and showing people how to make sure that they don't waste food, or with food that might have gone to compost or the garbage, show people how to be able to do things with it. And so having a good pantry is a way to make sure that you don't have waste. A lot of times we go to the supermarket and we buy fresh ingredients and we feel like we're gonna make it. So show you my onions. Let's see.
We have a question from AT who says, for your recipe, what would you advise as a substitute for olive oil? I've refrained from using olive oil for cooking purposes because of the health risks involved with olive oil's high smoke point.
Oh, well, I mean, I'll just say this, like there's people that do feel like that, but then people in Italy have been frying in olive oil or using olive oil from the beginning of time. So you can decide on what vegetable oil you feel comfortable using. It doesn't really matter. I just use oil that doesn't have like I wouldn't use coconut oil, for instance, because of the flavor for this.
And Lori Martin says, two staples during holidays are canned pumpkin and aseptic chicken / vegetable broth.
So what to use with them? Well, with canned pumpkin, I like to make muffins. I like to make, I forgot to, not this other half of the butter. I like to make muffins. I like to make tea bread. You can make pumpkin cheesecake, like a no bake cheesecake, curry. You can make sauces, and with with broth, you can do so many different things with broth. If you have a turkey, you can make soup. You can make bean soup if you have vegetarian. You can make rice dishes, pilafs. But I like canned pumpkin because like you put them in smoothies. Um, it's a really good thing to have on hand to do something other than just make pies.
I've seen a lot of homemade dog treats using canned pumpkin as well because it's good for digestion.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that before, but that's
I think it's probably the fiber content is good for like a dog's digestion or cat's.
Yeah. So yeah, so I just mixed up the last of 1 stick of butter in here. I'm just going to flatten this out and then put the cheese on the top and then let it bake for around 45 minutes. It's one of those easy casseroles that you can make, and then you can also freeze and have ready for any occasion that you need. It's a little easier than making like lasagna or scalloped potatoes where you gotta break everything down yourself. It's going in the oven with the cauliflower, and I have one sweet potato to make some guava glazed sweet potatoes. And now I'm going to be making a black bean salsa.
And Lori says, yes, yes, I buy dented pumpkin cans for our dog's food.
No one wants to share the dishes that they make during the holidays. So I'm making a black bean salsa. I always usually make my own salsa because it's a fraction of the cost. And so a salsa is just a main ingredient. So here we're going to use black beans. Sometimes, salsa is just a sauce. So it could be tomatoes, it could be a fruit, it can be mango. So you can make a salsa out of many different things. It has an allium, so I'm gonna be using scallion and a little bit of onion. It usually has a herb, so usually cilantro, but you can use other things. It usually has a citrus and an acid, and then you might put some spices inside there if you want to. So it's really kind of open-ended. If you have, diced tomatoes, you can make your own salsa all the time. I like to make my own salsa, my own tomato sauce and stuff like that because a lot of the ones in the store, they have lots of salt and lots of sugar. And these are basic ingredients. And you don't need to put a whole bunch of extra other things. When you're buying the stuff at the store, all those extra things are there to preserve your food. So it's easier, I think a lot fresher, it tastes a lot better. Make your own. So
We have a question. Is that a kitty? If someone would heard meowing, yes, my cat was meowing. I'm now petting him on my lap to keep him quiet.
it's all right, he can talk.
I think he wants attention.
But so I have a little bit of diced tomatoes that I'm cutting. You can use a petite dice and then you wouldn't have to cut them up. I put a little bit of tomato sauce, little cans that you get that they're like 25 to 50 cents. Those are always great to have in the house. You can do so many different things with them. So cut up a little piece of onion. What are the appetizers that people have at their house when people come over? I know this year might be a little different, but you guys buy store-bought appetizers? Do you make your own? Like I like to make salsa because people in my family like it. I like to make hummus usually. And then I like to make another, I try to have 3 vegan kind of dips. Then have a cheese dip and then have protein dip. I have 3 vegan things that people, I said I have a lot of people in my family that are vegan or vegetarian.
Lori says dry maple syrup and dried fruit with crackers warmed in oven.
Nice. So this is just cilantro. And I just have a little, a bit of salt and lemon juice. Lime juice. I just have bottled lime juice. So just about everything was from the pantry except for cilantro. Everything else. I guess you'd say the so here is the black bean salsa. I'm gonna make a little bit more tomato sauce to make it a little bit more soupy. If you wanted to, you could put some peppers in there, some roasted peppers. You can put some chipotle, some hot sauce. I didn't put any salt in here yet. Pate. These are one of the protein dips that I usually make. It's really good because you use canned salmon and expensive. This is like $3.99.
Nadine, when you're not standing in front of the camera, I can't hear you at all. So could you
Okay.
repeat what you just said?
All right. So I said that the canned salmon is inexpensive. It is this was $3.99 for a can. It's wild. This is like a little bit of lemon juice. There is canned salmon, and then there is softened cream cheese and a little bit of seafood seasoning. And then I'm gonna chop up 2 scallions. I'll probably put some hot sauce in here and some pepper. And if you had, I have some parsley, so I'm gonna put that in there. If you have dill, dill is a classic combination. And you could put dry dill, you could put dry chives, and then everything would be from your pantry. So I love these just on, if you have like butter crackers, you can put them on saltines, obviously. When you have bread that is, you feel like it's gonna get dry, make some crostini, and then you can put it in the oven, and then you can put it in your freezer, put it in your fridge, and then you have something to be able to eat and dip with and nosh with. If you have pitas that are on their way out, do the same thing. So I'm just this down. The cream cheese is a little hard. So I am gonna probably lay it out. So I get a little soft.
Question from Cynthia. What went in after the cream cheese?
scallions. And I have the recipes, you guys, so don't feel like any type of way. I don't know if Rose, you can, I sent you the link earlier, if you can put that link in there.
Let me pull that up.
And as I said, like, I'm cooking, a little bit of mustard. I'm cooking, I cook freestyle. I don't cook by recipe. I make the recipes for you. I do recipe testing for other people, but unless it is, this is a little Dijon mustard, unless it is for baking, but even the recipe that I'm doing for dessert today, I like to do things, because I'm a freestyle cook, that things are forgiving. So I brought 2 recipes for desserts that they're very forgiving. I don't like to measure things.
Okay, so I put in the chat the link that Nadine had sent me.
Yeah, so there's plenty of recipes in there. Like I said, I did the salsa recipe isn't there in there, but there is like a 3 sisters salad. That the native peoples, they grew corn, beans, and squash all together. So there's a nice recipe for that. I couldn't find, and I wanted to use delicata squash or butternut squash, but they didn't have any butternut squash that wasn't already peeled. But that's a nice salad to have. In a second, I'm going to be making a Moroccan carrot salad. And that's really easy. You usually have a bag of carrots. Maybe you don't have curry, but you can go buy some, because curry is a really good spice to be able to add flavors to different things other than just making like a curry chickpea stew or curry chicken or curry shrimp. You can use curry in a lot of different things. You can use curry. Catalina from Catalina's bakery in New Haven, she makes a really nice curry cupcake that's really delicious. So you can use it in savory and in sweet ways. You know, curry is just a mix. It's like turmeric, and I'm from Jamaica, so in the Caribbean, curry is a little sweeter than in India or Southeast Asia. It's more pungent. They use more cumin, they use more coriander, mustard, those type of things. And in the Caribbean, where we have allspice and nutmeg and cinnamon, you have more of those flavors in our curry. But then I use curries from all around the world. And so, you know, I'll go to those Indian markets and I'll have the curry, but then they'll have curry from, you know, India, but then they'll have it Pakistan, and you know, like Caribbean curry. There's curry from Trinidad, and there's curry from Jamaica, and I'll have all the different curries. Same thing with jerk seasonings, because they have a little different bit of taste, and so you can use them for different things, or you can mix them together. You know, so I like to mix a whole bunch of things together. So this is the pate that I did get through. I feel very sweaty now. I like to do things from hand. You know, I don't think I'm gonna do the whipped cream by hand though today. But I didn't put the parsley, so I'll do that in a second. But that is it. And then what you can do, you can put it in a mold, and then but if you'd like to do that, here is a little bit of parsley.
Okay, could you repeat what you said when you were away from the camera again?
Oh, I'm sorry. So I said that you can put it in a mold if you'd like to wow your guests. I'm not going to do that today. We're just going to have it like this. But if you want to, you could put it in a fish mold. You could leave it in this, for instance. You know, put saran wrap and then just put, spray it with a little bit of oil, and then put the salmon pate in there, and then put it in the fridge, let it chill down. A little hot sauce. Let it chill down, and then when you're ready, serve it, take it out, and then unmold it on a plate. And if you want to, you can make it, if you're doing a fish, you can put almonds, thank you. You can put almonds on there, olives for eyes, and for fins, you can use celery. It's really up to you. So you can be as crazy and creative as you want to, but for less than $5, this is a great dip that will feed around 12 people. So I'm smelling the potato casserole. And the cauliflower. So this is done right now. I'm gonna wash my hands and wash my station. I can do that.
Nadine, who's your lovely assistant?
Ella is the owner of Tiny Forest in Milford, and Tiny Forest is it's like the artistic side of a maker space of Maker Haven. So like they have an art studio, do classes, cooking classes, retreats. So I'm using her kitchen for my cooking classes because my kitchen is very, very tiny and it has no light whatsoever. So this is an easy kitchen. I met Ella. I taught her for a program called Master Cooks Corps, and we became friends, and she has this lovely space that I am lucky enough to be able to use. And she's also being my, yeah, without asking, which I really appreciate. So check out Tiny Forest. All right. So, yep. This didn't happen now. Yeah. Let's get around a little bit more. I'll take that one out. Yeah. So right now we're just taking off the foil off of the cauliflower, and we're looking at the potatoes. So the cauliflower is steaming, so you just take it off, and then we'll put it in the oven for another half an hour so it gets really nice and brown. Make a sauce. A sauce. Which sauce I don't know, but we'll make some sauce. I forgot my. So right now I'm going to make a Moroccan carrot salad. It's one of my favorite salads to make. It's very easy. I just have shredded carrots that were bought at the store. But of course, shred your own. This is a recipe in which I'm known for. If you like Google my name, if you Google my name for an organization called Cooking Matters. So our organization called Cooking Matters. It's a 6-week program which teaches people how to cook healthy, and you'll be able to see it. So it's like always interesting to see like people in Montana and Utah making a salad. But everyone always has carrots. I love salads because they're really easy to make. Raw food is really great for you. And I love to encourage people to eat more vegetables. This is curry. 1 pound of carrots, around 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon, depending on how you want. I put lime juice. Usually you put orange juice, but as again, I said that you mix and match when you don't have something. Here's a little bit of paprika. Here's some natural honey, which my friend sent me from DC. She has the apiary, an apiary, her husband. So you have a little bit of honey. You can use brown sugar or just regular sugar. And then I just have to chop up a little bit of onion. And then you just mix it around and that's it. So it's really simple. It's very inexpensive. You can even have your kids make it if you want to. But it's one of those salads you have in your repertoire to bring to. If you have the curry already, then the salad is not really expensive. And that's why I like to promote like the pantry, because oftentimes you go out and you spend a lot of money. Like, oh, I don't have this for that. And what I like to show people, it's like, use what you have, cook with what you have. If you stock your pantry like every week, I was saying to Ella, because I feel like we're going into lockdown, and one of the things is like, obviously I like cooking and I like to have the things that I want. And so every week I've been going to different markets. So last week I went to Polish market on State Street in New Haven and got Polish spices and sauerkraut and pickled vegetables. She didn't have any pierogies. She gets pierogies from Chicago and they're delicious. Sauerkraut and mushroom. You think it wouldn't taste good. They're really good. And then traditional ones like cheese and potato and stuff like that. But, yesterday I went to on Dixwell Avenue, New Haven, Motherland supermarket, and it's an African market, and I got different spices. But, if you just go, when you go to these ethnic markets, especially, look at how much curry that is. It lasts a long time, especially if you keep it in a dark place. And if you know you're not going to use something, go in on those spices with a bunch of people and then get smaller containers, for instance.
Question, where is the Polish market, please?
The Polish market is right by Lorkia, right on the corner of, I don't know what that school is, right on State Street, at the bottom of State Street, right past the overpass. But just put Polish Market State Street and it'll come up. She's only open now on Fridays and Saturdays, but it's really important that we support her because it's the only Polish market that's left in New Haven. And there's some in Meriden and some other places, but it's the only one that's left in New Haven. And she's really nice, she's really sweet, and she makes her own pierogies also. They have really great cold cuts from Poland that are fresh and organic and very inexpensive for what they are. They have these little pepperoni sticks that I'm surprised I'm telling you about because they're so hard to get, but they're delicious. I bought them and my daughter ate all of them. I was so mad at her because she hadn't had them for years. She finally got them back. And so I have to go, I guess, next week, Friday or Saturday to get some.
Is the Polish market called Polmog Deli?
Yes.
Okay, then it's at 820 State Street.
Yes. Her son, everyone in there, they're very sweet. They have really good bread, with like nice pickles. But the prices are, you'd be so surprised at these ethnic markets, how much the prices are for these big jars of of things. They have pickled mushrooms, really nice spices for the fall and the winter. That's why I went. Because they have these little mixes. They have like I bought risotto mix with mushrooms there. All right, so I guess now I'll make, can I get a little saucepan?
Lori says Pullmug Market, State and Pearl Street, open until 4 p.m. today.
So I'm going to, everyone likes sweet potatoes, candied sweet potatoes. So they didn't have sweet potatoes at Aldi, but Ella had one sweet potato. So I'm going to show you how you do it. All it is, I don't know if people are familiar with guava paste. Guava paste is a Latino Caribbean product. It's great to have. Sometimes they have in a can. This was in a bag. I think this was like $1.29. And you can cut it in half and it lasts in the freezer kind of indefinitely or the fridge. And you can make, guava paste is great. You can make barbecue sauce with it. You can make a cheesecake with it really easily. You can make, people eat it with cheese, to put on a cheese plate. Glazes, drinks, dressings. So it's a kind of versatile thing. So we just roasted the sweet potato. I'm just gonna cut it. And then I'm gonna turn the heat on kind of like medium. I'm gonna melt some butter and then melt the guava paste. If you have like guava jelly, you can use that instead. The guava jelly will break down a little faster than the guava paste. Guava paste is very thick. You don't need any extra. It's basically guava and sugar. So I'm just gonna cut these in little slices. And I'm going to cut a little piece of butter. You always want to put a little oil in the butter because butter does burn easily. I'm gonna cut a little piece of the guava paste and we're just gonna melt those things together. What are some things from ethnic markets that people like to buy that are part of their repertoire? I'll say one of the things I like are fish sauce. Fish sauce is amazing to use, not only in Southeast Asian cuisine, but to make like a Caesar salad or to make a pasta sauce. An easy dish to make is, well, it's not actually easily because you can grate the caramel, but it's like Vietnamese caramel chicken. You know, fish sauce is really great to add a little flavor to a soup. No one wants to talk to me. Everyone just wants me to talk.
I like going to Asian markets to get really big bags of short grained rice because grocery stores, if you get it, it's sushi rice and it's little tiny bags. Whereas it's so much cheaper if you get like a really big one at an Asian market.
Right. And you know, out here, like, you know, like my family we like basmati rice or jasmine rice. And so we'll come out to the Indian markets and get a big old bag also.
I like the short grain rice because you can use it to make sushi or Japanese rice balls.
Yeah. So yeah, I have all different types of rice. You know, I have like long grain brown rice. Because the you know the sushi rice you can't make regular. You know, like I can't make paella with that. You know? So I'm showing you a little bit. Let me see. I don't want to. You see?
Yep. Oop, spilled a little there.
Yep. So it's melting down. So I just want you to see how it looks like a little bit. was celebrating the holidays this year in the age of Corona.
Cynthia says go miso and garam masala are staples here. I'm not sure if I spelled that right that first one right.
Is that garam masala?
No, go miso, Gomaiso.
Goga meshi. That is it is sesame seeds and salt, I believe. The Japanese spice.
Okay.
And garam masala is a Indian mix.
Mhm.
And for instance, if you don't have curry, you can mix garam masala and turmeric, and that would be a version of curry. Yeah, but curry is just your own different spice blend, just like garam masala is kind of too. So I'm just cutting up the guava paste because it's very thick. And so just like, you're making a caramel with butter and sugar for candied yams is the same way that it's just like butter and your guava paste. And so now I'm gonna put the slices in there. If you wanted to, you could run it underneath the broiler. There, I'm just gonna do the fast version and just flip them over a couple times and let it just simmer in the paste. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle it with a little bit of vanilla. A little vanilla paste from Nielsen Maxi. I love Nielsen Maxi's vanilla. It's fair trade. And then hopefully you can maybe see it. You see it, Rose?
Yep.
And as I said, if you want to make it a little bit more brown, you can run it underneath the broiler if you wanted to. So I need to get another pot for these green beans. Right. Anyone have any questions? I showed them. That's all that stuff. It tastes really good. All right, so I'm making, they were supposed to be Algerian green beans, and they're not. I'm gonna make green beans with pistachios. No, those are gonna be for the you start melting the chocolate in the yeah, the microwave. Oh, no, well, I'll do it in a second. I'll just concentrate on that. So I'm going to I have to take these pistachios out. So when people talk to me and at least ask me a question, or I guess I'll talk about myself to you, ask me a question. So I was born in Toronto, Canada, which is called the most multicultural city in the world. So therefore you see like my eclectic style in making food. My company is Global Local Gourmet. So like I like to use global flavors and show people how to use local ingredients in interesting ways. I moved to New Haven when I was 10 and learned a lot about Italian food here. In Toronto, I knew a lot about all different types of Caribbean food because the Black people in Canada, for the most part, are from the Caribbean or Africa. So learned a lot about African food. Used to go to Chinatown all the time in different neighborhoods. So Toronto is a city of many ethnic enclaves. And so on Fridays, my mom would we go to different neighborhoods. We might go to the Greek neighborhood and have gyros, or go to Chinese neighborhood and have dim sum, so that was always really fun. And then moving to New Haven, learning about pizza, and I had Japanese food, um, Mexican food. These are foods that I didn't have in Toronto, Colombian food. Um, and, my friends, like I'm friends with Buns from Mia. So we go to his restaurant in high school after we go out partying, and they'd have staff lunch in the after the restaurant closed. So that was always great to have all this wonderful food that his mom would make, because she made a lot of cooked food at the restaurant. Um, I had a friend from high school that was Colombian, and so I love arepas and stuff like that. And the connections between cuisines, like in Latino food, they have pescado de coco, which is fish and coconut milk. And in Jamaica, we have this thing called rundown or oil down, which is like either vegetables and coconut milk, or meats and vegetables and coconut milk. So it's nice to see those type of connections, like rice and beans. What are some of the dishes that you guys serve at your holiday? During your holidays?
Let's see. Cynthia says, every time I buy capers for a recipe, I end up with a jar of capers in the refrigerator and no idea what to do with it.
Oh, I love capers. Do you like tomato sauce? Do you like to make like a puscanesta sauce? Like you eat fish, so like it's really great with fish. It'd be really good with like grilled mushrooms. I'm just chopping up these, they're not pecans, they're pistachios. I'm gonna saute some onions. I'm gonna make these Algerian green beans, which I love.
Susan Hartnett says, there's a nice salmon with capers and red wine vinegar. Lori says, I use capers and chicken marbella.
Yes, exactly.
And Susan
Sophia
also
is a vegetarian, so.
Okay. Susan also said, I make roasted Brussels sprouts with a bit of bacon and or roasted squash with maple syrup or brown sugar and walnuts.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I like nuts. I think nuts sometimes don't get enough play in dishes. And I think that they add a nice texture, obviously, but also a nice flavor. I love pistachios too. So I'm just gonna slice this onion in thin slices. I'm gonna saute it over a little bit of oil and a little bit of oil. I'm gonna put a little bit of paprika on there. My seasoning, keep it really simple. think my casserole is done. Yep. The cauliflower is still cooking. So I just gonna saute the onions. One of the best tricks that you can have is sauteing onions. Well, just making them caramelize. It adds so much flavor for for very little cost. I am smashing some garlic to put in the green beans. But we have to get we don't want to put them until the onions are almost caramelized because the garlic will burn. You don't want to taste it. When I do my Thanksgiving, people get a little, they get very anxious. And my Thanksgiving dinner usually only takes 3 hours to make. I put in my turkey, which takes the longest, and it usually takes 3 to 4 hours. So like I think it's probably a 12-pounder, maybe. Um, it's a small turkey because we don't need a big turkey. We have so many other things. So it is a small turkey. So it takes like 3 to 4 hours. I cook it in turkey bag, which helps to keep it moist, but then also to cook it faster. But when I put my turkey in, then I start doing my sides. So I don't spend the whole day because people can spend such a long time preparing for Thanksgiving or for a holiday, and then it's no fun to be able to sit down and eat with your guests. So I really try and make it be only 3 hours, the amount of time that it takes to cook my turkey. The same way that we did the sweet potatoes, you can also do carrots, for instance. Um, Other really easy recipes for vegetables, like people were talking about Brussels sprouts, they have them in the bag. You can make a Brussels sprout salad if you wanted to, but roasting them, and I love to make them with a little bit of fish sauce and some Korean hot pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder on there. Those are really good. I like that kind of sweet. You can put a little bit of sugar if you want to, a little bit of honey if you want it sweet and savory and hot, or you can leave the sugar out if you just want to kind of that umami flavor. So the onions are browning up really nice. I'm gonna put the garlic in there now. And these green beans are frozen. They're French green beans, extra prime, which I love. And sometimes people feel, using frozen vegetables that they're not as fresh. But frozen vegetables are flash frozen, where usually for the fruit and they're at the peak of their season. So, especially in the winter time, when you can't get great alternatives.
I vastly prefer frozen vegetables to canned. Canned always seems mushy and oversalted to me.
But she asked, I'm sorry.
I said I vastly prefer frozen vegetables over canned. Canned always seems like mushy and oversalted to me.
Right, exactly. The only canned vegetables that I have are like artichokes, maybe sometimes mushrooms. I don't really like those.
Sometimes I'll have a jar of roasted red peppers.
Yeah, exactly. That's roasted red peppers. Um, so on that document that I gave people, there's a whole list of different things that you can get for your pantry. And, like, go out once a week and get a little bit at a time. And you'll see that you'll build up a nice pantry. Because, if you live with like 1 or 2 people, for instance, um, a bag of barley or a bag of beans. A bag of beans is going to last me, you know, unless I make a big pot of soup and use 1 can of beans, I can use those beans 3 times. So your pantry items can last barley, things that don't spoil, poison sauce, things like that. You put them in the refrigerator, they don't spoil. So I'm gonna add my pistachios. Add a little bit of that butter paste, and the last bit of lemon that is in there. I try to put a little bit of paprika just to give a nice little smoky flavor with the pica. And this is just a variation actually of the Algerian. They just use walnuts and I just put ground cloves. That would be the only addition basically without the lemon. But I like the green bean recipe because usually people tradition is to have green bean casserole and that's kind of fattening. So I like to have some especially if I didn't put the butter in there, then vegan just totally. The green beans are done. I will do a pass through so people can see. And last but not least, we have chocolate mousse. So I'm gonna wash my hands and wash my station for a second because I just don't want the chocolate mousse tasting like onions and garlic. So please forgive me while I do that. Uh, chocolate mousse. I love to make chocolate mousse. It's very easy to make the way that I make it. I do not use eggs. The reason why I don't use eggs is that I think it makes it kind of heavy. And I like my chocolate mousse. I'm gonna turn off the stove. Cauliflower. That I think that when it's with the eggs, it first of all it takes longer. You have to separate eggs. I'm not a dessert person like that. I like things easy, and I like my chocolate mousse really light. So I'm going to melt the chocolate in the microwave. You can do it on top of the stove if you want to. But I like this version because you can put it in the microwave. And the recipe is, it's a rose pistachio, and I had mint chocolate, so that's what I'm using, and that's fine. You just have to watch. You just have to watch the chocolate to make sure that it doesn't burn. So here I have whipped cream. So if you want to be really mean, or not mean, you want to, have people increase their muscles, then you can do it by hand. I'm gonna do it with the hand mixer. All right, I have a little bit of rose water. This is Nielsen Massey, very highly concentrated. And the reason why I am shouting them out is because a lot of companies, they're fake, and it's not real. And I like real vanilla, real essences. If you're gonna bake, then I say like splurge on the real vanilla. You only need a little bit, and a little bit goes a long way, and you can taste the difference. This is pure vanilla powder, and from Nielsen Massey. And then we're gonna put a little bit of sugar in here. We're gonna put all this whipped cream. And like just a tablespoon of sugar. And if you have brown sugar, that would be, not brown sugar, if you have powdered sugar, that would be better. But because it will dissolve easier, but it's fine. That's what I'm just trying to show you, that it's fine for you to substitute things. If you wanted to make a guava mousse, you just melt this, for instance, and do the same thing that I'm doing instead of chocolate. All right. How many people have made their own whipped cream before?
I think I have at some point. Lori says last week.
Pardon?
Lori says last week.
Okay. I love whipped cream.
And Susan says fairly often.
Pardon?
Susan says fairly often.
Oh. Yeah, can you imagine if I was hand whipping that? See if it needs a little bit more rose water or anything. Yeah. No, you don't want to use too much rose water or orange water because it can start tasting like perfume. So this is just enough. I just put a teaspoon, and that's all that you need. All right, I'm going to make this to, I'm going to make one more thing for the cauliflower. Make a sauce. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. All right, so I have mayonnaise. That was due to tahini, and I forgot my tahini. So here's mayonnaise. Here's some sour cream to lighten up the mayonnaise. So if you have yogurt, you could use yogurt. Want to make it vegan, you use all those different products. Then I'm going to use scallion and garlic and combine spices. I'm going to put a little bit of the za'atar in there. I'm going to put it inside this sour cream bowl because it's a little easier to mix with how much I put in there. I'm going to put the garlic inside there and the scallions. I might put a little bit of water just to thin it out. Not so thick. You do the same thing with the tahini sauce. I had time and it wasn't so loud. I just made my own tahini with, I don't know if I ever had sesame seeds, but you can make your own tahini with sesame seeds. Thank you. I just brought me a little bit of water, so I'm just thinning this out a little bit. I love to make my own sauces. So if you have mayonnaise and you have relish, what kind of sauce is that? What's the basis of that sauce?
Well, that's tartar sauce, isn't it?
Yep. You're the librarian, Rose. You're not supposed to say those things. You're supposed to let them talk. No,
I gave people a chance.
What is up with that, you guys? You're just leaving me out here. If you came to one of my cooking classes, I'm a very interactive teacher. I don't do all, we're on Zoom, so there's how much interactivity can we have? But if you were here, you'd be doing most of the cooking because you learn by doing. Same thing by speaking up, but it's all right. You're shy. We're gonna be finished early today. So you please ask me some final questions because I'm going to gloss over the food so you can see. Then we're done. Oh.
Lori says, can't respond, busy cooking.
Let me see. And then, I need to make the chocolate cool down a little bit, but I hope you can see. Can you see it, fellas? Everyone?
Lori says, this has been so much fun. I'm working on 3 meals.
Can you see well? So you guys, I'm going to see how many things we made in less than an hour and a half. So, all right, so here are the party potatoes. Here's the mac and carrot salad. Here is the salmon pate, black bean salsa, Nadine's new type of green beans with pistachios, the tar roasted cauliflower, and we have the sauce for the cauliflower, and then we have chocolate mousse, but we have to let the chocolate cool down just a little bit before we mix it in with the mousse. All right, so any more questions? Did you have any more questions? Please ask me any questions.
So Lori says, thanks, Nadine and Rose. Susan asks, is this what you'll have for Thanksgiving dinner with turkey?
I don't know what we're doing this year because we're probably not going to get together we have my family, we get together every Sunday, like a pod, but I don't know if we're doing that this year. Usually there's over like 24 to 50 people at my Thanksgiving. So I don't know, if it's only going to be 3 of us, then I'll probably just do have like steak and lobster, do something like that. Because like having a whole turkey is a lot with only 3 people. So it really just depends. I might just do I like to do themes. And then maybe wait to do turkey like when there's more people. I love turkey. I love stuffed turkey. I love making my turkey with cornbread stuffing, but I don't think we're gonna do it this year.
Lisette asks, are all these recipes in the link?
Yes, most of them. The green bean one I used is a little different, and black bean salsa is in there. But if they didn't write down or they don't feel comfortable freestyling, you can just email me. And my email is nadine.nelson@gmail.com. Again, I'm Nadine Nelson, the chef, owner, and educator of Global Local Gourmet. I'm so happy to be here. Also the creative in residence this year. We are going for December. We will have a couple of classes. We're gonna have a make and take, making chutney. So you can give it away as a gift to someone if you want to, and do some spice mixes or stuff in your pantry. And we're gonna be doing tablescapes, holiday tablescapes, and how to host a cocktail party very easily. And every Wednesday, I have a program called Co-Create where different creatives and we make art and talk to each other, and then you can come in and make art too or ask questions from 2 amazing creatives. Cynthia is going to be on this week, I believe. This week.
So.
Yeah, this week, yeah. Cynthia's going to be on, Cynthia Rubin, great artist, is going to be on this Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30. And then I also have office hours from 12 to 2. And you can check out I've Squared to book an appointment. And my background in food, because I didn't really talk about that. I'm a trained educator, but I have worked every role in food, and I work a lot behind the scenes. So I have that creative part where I am an artist and a food artist, and I do social sculpture and all of that. But then I do have the practical side where I've owned a food truck, and I've done menu planning and food styling and I'm gonna have an article in Yankee Magazine on pies. So I do a lot of different things. And in regard to making money in food, you have to kind of do many things and be good at things that are behind the scenes. So a lot of things that, if I was a restaurant chef, for instance, it'd be really hard for me right now during COVID. But because I do things like teach cooking classes, or I do menu planning, or I help people write curriculum, or do trainings, then I'm able to still thrive in an economic climate that is tenuous. So if you have any questions about creative stuff, about business stuff, please feel free to call me, because I don't want to be on my office hours lonely by myself.
And several people have said thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I hope that people feel blessed, not stressed this holiday season. I know that it might be rough for people, but I think that, counting your blessings and, looking at gratitude and being thankful for the people that you have in your life and what you have in your life is really important. So I'm very happy to be doing this, for example. And I hope that you guys got lots of tips. I love when people do my recipes and then they tell me afterwards how well they turned out. So please check out my website, Global Local Gourmet. Check out Tiny Forest. Check out I've Squared and all the offerings, because the library has lots of offerings beyond what I offer that are. Any more questions? Ellen and I are going to eat some food.
Says, please do one for December. One what? Do you want another cooking program? Do you want another? Please elaborate, Lisette. Another cooking program.
Okay, yeah, well, we're going to have 2.
Okay.
I look forward to seeing you there.
Yep, looks like we've got Lori and Lisette are both looking forward to more cooking programs.
Great. I'll let you see me before we say goodbye. We're going to have a much better, we're working on all the technology and the video. We're going to be a lot better. First month.
It's a learning process.
It is. Like, yeah. Good. Any more questions, you guys?
And Susan says, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, are you going to finish up the chocolate mousse, or does that still need to cool?
Still, I can finish it. Who's that? You always want to be careful when you're doing desserts that onion and garlic is not your friend. Stuff like sugar, it's going to take this. Right, so then you just want to put, I don't know if you can see, the chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just want to fold it in real gently. So you just want to fold in the chocolate real gently, and then you can put it in mason jars if you want to, and let it set before serving it. And so I didn't put a lot of chocolate in there. I just used the chocolate that I had. So if you want it more chocolatey, then by all means, you can do that. You can also do white chocolate. This is mint and rose.
Can you tilt the camera back up? Right now, I can only see the side of the counter.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
So you can do, I did mint and rose, And then you can do whatever you want. You know, it's supposed to be rose and pistachio, but you can do hazelnut. You could do hot pepper. You know how people, you know, put hot peppers in drinks and. All right, so you don't want to mix it too much because you don't want it to lose all the fluff. So that's it right there. You taste it for you. Tastes really good.
Now everyone is hungry.
I know. We're hungry too. I try not to eat before my yummy. That was so good, guys. All right. Any more questions? Thanks for coming. I appreciate you.